Hi, and welcome to the second episode of Engineering Resume Edits via video. I'm Emily, and we're going to look at a resume today from the user W. Montoya. So thank you for letting us do your resume today. So first off, there is a little bit of white space that I noticed just from a first glance. I do think that the font for the subheadings here, and here could be a little larger because it looks like it's the same size as this FSAE Aerodynamics team, and you want your subheadings to stand out and be larger. So I'd say larger font here. That's kind of sticks out. Also, it sticks out, if you look at these dates, some of them have the long hyphen and some of them have the short hyphen. So it doesn't really matter which you pick, as long as you're consistent. Maybe not everybody would notice that, but to me, that's kind of one of my pet peeves. And also, after each position title, there's a comma. And I would totally nix these commas because they're totally not necessary. But other than that, it looks fine. Perhaps a larger font for the name as well, but that's personal preference. But let's get into content edit. So the first experience item is FSAE Aerodynamics team, which I'm actually familiar with. I did that in college as well. So let's see what the user did. Led a team of 3 engineering students to design and research manufacturing to test the aerodynamic package of a small formula style car to improve lap times in the autocross race. So the action is led a team of engineering students. This next part of the sentence is a little clunky and could be worded better. So they led the students to design and research manufacturing. So they're designing and researching manufacturing to test the aerodynamic package. So this is just a little weird because I don't really know if they're researching the manufacturability of testing the aerodynamic package. Like, I don't know if the testing is linked to that research. Perhaps they need an and there. They need to design and research, and test the aerodynamic package, or just it's just awkward. So I'm just gonna write awkward reword. But it's good that they have why they're doing it, because they want to improve the lap times. That's like the why. So I guess they're going to go into exactly what they did. So they use CAD and CFD. I would definitely say mention what packages you're using. What software? Because if you have an employer that uses SolidWorks, if they say, if right on your resume it says use SolidWorks to design, then the employer is going to be like, oh, they've already know how to use this. So that might give you kind of a benefit. So they use CAD and CFD to design and iteratively analyze front and rear wing, no comma there, configurations to improve vehicle downforce / drag efficiency while maximizing downforce. So obviously that needs to be reworded because they say downforce twice. it could be better worded to say improve vehicle drag efficiency is also in generally a little bit awkward too. While maximizing downforce. That's a little better, but I'd say like try to work with this sentence right here. Just see if you can do some different combinations of words to see what sounds, if you can find anything that sounds better. So this next bullet point is sort of the result of the using the CAD and CFD, which they really should be, so according to the STAR format, situation, task, action, result. They should all be in the same bullet point. And also, so they should really combine this as an action or as a result. And the sentence itself doesn't really make sense if you read it. It says reduced overall aerodynamics package budget of previous year FSAE vehicle by 41%. So package budget, I understand what he's trying to say, but it's probably not the best way to say it. I would really use the word volume, because what is the variable that they're trying to reduce? They're trying to reduce the volume. And this should be possessive. But it's awesome that this is awesome. That this person actually has a quantitative number. So really, I think they could add more detail here, because designing an aerodynamics package is really, really complicated. And it takes a really long time to figure out the best angles of attack, all sort of wing styles and sizes. And to run those, simulations, it can take quite a while. So I think this person could go in a little bit more detail about, what variables other than volume and, drag, coefficient of drag, they're trying to look at. What sort of problems did they run into? How many iterations did they run? Kind of upping the quantitative factor. We want to see quantitative results, and kind of is wherever we can. That's why I was excited about the 41% number. But let's move on because I'm taking too long. So diploma project for Ionata Corporation, Toronto, Ontario. That's fine. Worked with a team to create a prototype which consisted of a mechanical solution to separate sodium sulfite crystallization from a sodium hydroxide substance that would clog a marine membrane scrubber. So what did the prototype do? It mechanically separated the sodium sulfate crystals from this sodium hydroxide substance that would otherwise, I would actually put in the word otherwise here. clog a marine membrane scrubber. And I have no idea what a marine membrane scrubber is, but that's okay because I understand the basics here. They give me enough information. Presented to a group of 2 peers and 1 manager. So I would just say that's a little awkward that it's 2 peers and 1 manager. Usually I like to say a board of 3 people or 5 colleagues or something. 2 peers and 1 manager is it's not very many. But I mean, it's still something. So maybe combine this into a 3, people, colleagues. I spelled that wrong. But okay, detailing the test and prototyping process. And recommended the prototype see further testing before final implementation. So that actually is really good because that sounds responsible to me. That, hey, I worked on this prototype a lot, but I don't think it's ready yet. So I think we should test it more. Whereas, upper management might be like, oh, let's go ahead and implement it. It's fine. It's ready. Because, more testing always costs more money. But that's a good recommendation. And I don't think you'll get penalized for saying that at all. Drafted and implemented a financial plan to estimate costs of prototypes by budgeting costs and negotiated with suppliers, resulting in an under budget prototype. I would take out the budgeting costs. Because the budgeting cost is inferred in the drafting the financial plan. Because when you make a financial plan, obviously you're going to budget. So I think that's not needed. And negotiated with suppliers, resulting in an under budget prototype. Can you quantify this? How much did you save the company? How much under budget were you? Maintained weekly basis communication with lead project development engineer to ensure progress. I do not like this bullet point. I am not a big fan of communication bullet points because it's just talking to someone and it takes no effort. I personally put much more emphasis on doing stuff, presenting, writing something, making a prototype, designing something. So I think this is the weakest bullet point, but it's good that it's at the bottom because, I want to let the person know that, yeah, it is weak. But, if they don't have if they are having trouble finding content for the resume, it's okay to leave that in. But if you are, lacking of space, then maybe that would be cut out at the point. But let's move on. Tool and die intern. Assisted tooling engineers to inspect, assemble, and disassemble. Oxford comma. They've used an Oxford comma in every other list. So please be consistent. I know not everyone notices that, but I'm a stickler for formatting consistency, as you've probably noticed. 6 dies, that's good, but it's also weird that you've spelt out 6 when you wrote 2 and 1 in the earlier section. So just be consistent. Ensuring every component works efficiently, which resulted in a 3% production cut downtime. Which I like the fact that there's a quantitative like result there. I think assisted is kind of a weak adjective or a weak verb, because I don't know how much you owned of that. Like, did you just stand over their shoulder and watch, or did you actually like do some of it? So, I'd say when you can, try to use a different verb than assisted. But, for now it's fine. Let's move on. Another Oxford comma. Killing me. Use of mills, lathes, and surface grinders to repair different components and tools. Which, how many? If you're going to include something, a bullet on your resume, you want it to be meaningful. You want to try to give as much detail as you can. Tell them what you did. Tell them why you did it. Tell them how you did it. And it's good that this is the last experience item, because I think it's the weakest. Unless this person wants to go the technician route, which, then obviously this would be the most relevant. But if they're going for a design engineering role, which is what I'm assuming they are, it's good to understand and know how to work. Well, it's good to understand how the machines work, because it'll help your design, capabilities. But obviously technician work in a lot of engineering companies, technician work is completely separate from engineering work. Every company that I've, interviewed at and worked at. So this is a little weaker. Like, utilize measuring tools. Like, great, you know how to use a micrometer and calipers, but that's still like pretty weak. It's not like, again, doing something. Like, I would be more, I'm going to ask them to integrate GD&T here, because GD&T is something that engineers have to do and technicians have to deal with, technicians usually know better than the engineers, because they're the ones that make the parts. But that's kind of the crossover, I think. So here's their education. I think it's actually a little awkward here. I was looking at it just, I would actually flip these around. I would say put the university first. And then put the diploma or whatever underneath it. Obviously, they started at this George Brown College and finished at Lakehead University. So I don't really know what this diploma means. Is that associates? I'm not sure, because I can't tell just from like looking at this. All right. lastly, professional skills and interests. ANSYS, MATLAB, SolidWorks, Excel, Word. Do not put Microsoft Office on your resume. See, there's the GD&T. I want to know about the GD&T in this person's like experience section. I want to know when they had to use it. I want to know, you know, how well they know it. How have they actually, you know, had to do a drawing? I don't know. It doesn't say. But GD&T is so crucial in any engineer who's, you know, gonna publish drawings. It's like such a big deal. Do not use the word experience. We know you have experience. That's why you're listing it. So interests, remove if need more space for experience. It's great that you play the, you know, blues music and practice Mai Tai or whatever. But that doesn't help me know if you're a good engineer or if you have experience in, you know, the things I want to hire you for. So that's kind of where I am right now with this resume. Let's do one quick look over. I think they can add a lot more specific tasks that they've done. It seems like everything's like pretty general. But yeah, that's where I'm gonna end it, I think. Please, if you have any comments or questions or suggestions about these videos, please let me know. But thanks for watching.